Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting we are doing today is one that I painted back in August of 2016, and it's called Rocky Meadow. It's an 11 by 11. We did the study last week. The study's, really nice too, if I don't say so myself. But this is a good painting, and I was just looking in that folder, August 2016. I actually just recently painted over the top of two paintings from that period, and I don't really love the other ones other than this Rocky Meadow either, but it just shows to go that the best laid plans of mice and men and all that, I don't always hit one out of the park every time. And that's, I knew it would be like that with landscape painting, or at least I had an intuition. And yeah, I spent most of my life when I was young learning how to draw the human figure and faces and things like that. And I was very interested in things like comic book illustration and inking, and one of the main reasons I didn't get into that is because I wasn't really in anything but doing the people. But you get to a certain level and you move on. But with landscape painting, it's quite there's quite a lot there. It's really, really, really deep. I'm not saying it's deeper than, say, something like doing illustrations for a comic book, but it's definitely deeper than illustration, in my view. And I could ramble about the distinctions between illustration and fine art landscape painting, and I've done it before, but I won't do that again today. Suffice to say that the point I guess I'm trying to make is that it's really deep, and it was something that I felt I could spend the rest of my life trying to get good at. So this is why I ended up with landscape painting, and it's challenging, and it's very rewarding, of course, when you do succeed, and then even more rewarding when someone comes along and buys that painting. Even in many cases where it's a big chunk of their personal disposable income, and that's always appreciated by me. And that's what it's all about, just creating beautiful objects that are going to enhance people's homes, and that they enjoy, and mean a lot to them. So anyway, we did I think it was day 18 of 25 days of tonalism yesterday, and that's doing pretty good there. So that was a John Francis Murphy. And here we are with, this is kind of, in some ways, there's a lot of things I've done here that Murphy wouldn't do, but he's influenced me. And one of the big ways that it's a subtle thing, but the way your trees are set against the sky is one of the most important parts of any painting, and the place where people that are new to landscape painting and amateurs fail almost always. They don't get it right. I myself didn't get it right sometimes I would, but when I got it right, I wasn't even sure why I was getting it right. Maybe I was just doing a good job of copying my reference, and these days I don't copy my reference. That's the reference is just something to refer to. And in fact, I had last week in the studio, I had I'm doing 25 more days of tonalism, and there's quite an old Georgia Ness painting, and I was doing the finishing bit on it and on the study, and I noticed that the whole first color pass was missing, and it was such a nice little painting that I thought, well, I think I'll just do this whole study over again, just so that you guys have the advantage of seeing the first color pass. And so I did it, and it's interesting, the differences. There's quite a few, and that's okay. That's what it's all about, man. I mean, that's not really so much what it's about, but it's a it's a byproduct of what it's all about, which is expressing yourself in the present artistically in a way that is effective and moving to other people. So there's a great summation of what landscape art can accomplish, and the goal, always the goal, is that. And actually, I thought it was a little touch and go. Sometimes the problem with doing something like that, especially so soon after, is that I may fail miserably in the second attempt. And I have to say, even though it's different in many small ways, it's just as successful, which I'm really happy about. And I'm going to give that first one to a friend of mine who's helped me out a lot, and then I still have the complete set and the ones that most importantly, the whole reason for doing was so we would have all that first color pass information, which is the bulk of the painting. Let's face it. I mean, you could sit there and fiddle with things quite a lot after that first color. Well, actually, getting into the first color block in. I don't generally do a block in. I try and go further than a block in. I try and get a lot of work done, but I've noticed working on this burnt umber boards that are so dark that I'm being forced to work slower and more carefully, because I have to cover up every bit of the, not every bit, little bits coming through, but and creating interesting effects, I will say. But because it's so dark, I can't just leave whole swaths of it peeking through. It's creating a problem if I do that. So it's a bit more, I'd have to say, smaller strokes, more methodical, but interesting, and a nice change, really. If you look closely at any of those on the blog, on the bottom most portion of the blog, I'll always do something that's pretty much at 100% of my photo I've taken of the painting, and you can always see a lot of that burnt sienna coming through. So not having that is a huge change, and really changing and affecting how things are going. I have to say, I'm pretty excited about the results I'm getting, and also, I'm kind of doing some motifs that I've done before that I believe in compositionally. This rocky meadow that we're doing today is one of those. That's a good composition. That's, for me, that's about as good as it gets. And this painting is out going into some gallery, I guess, at some point in the near future, which is great. I think it's appealing. It looks awesome in a frame, and it's got depth. It's got really nice sky and interesting tree formations, and then the rocks are also a big bonus. And because they're in the grass the way they are, that sometimes when I do rocks, I feel like it's always a challenge, because there's a lot more detail and there's a lot more rocks than you might want. So in many ways, it's a process of elimination and just indicating things. Again, just another way to potentially fail, and I have failed. In fact, one of the paintings I'm gonna just put a coating of burnt umber over was this. Well, we have these pohutukawa trees out here in New Zealand, and they have they've got like 8 trunks. They're like these octopus type trees, and I have successfully painted them before, but they're difficult, and a lot of times they're at the beach side, and they have a bunch of rocks underneath, kind of shoring up the the beach there, or the edge of the beach, I should say. And I just tanked on this last one that I covered up. I think I painted it back in 2015, and just too many rocks, all the same size. It was a giant failure, and not for lack of trying. I mean, I was quite content to delete my photo of that painting as well as the corresponding movie. So when now there is one that's actually being covered up, that is actually out there on YouTube and on the blog, and I'll let you guys figure out which one that is. I thought I'd saved it, but I can tell like when I'm going through paintings and I just don't want to look at one. That's a good sign that why would anyone else want to really, So and unlike some sort of failures in life, when you fail on a painting, it's right there in front of you, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You have to either make your peace with it, and you'll have little areas of paintings that could have been better, but uh, like well, like I was talking about earlier, one of the things that makes landscape painting so fascinating is the amount of effort and mastery and how easy it is to fail, how easy it is to go wrong, because so many things have to go right. I mean, for this painting to succeed, and I don't know. I love it. I actually do love it. I'm really happy that I get to do this every day, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so open with you guys and happy to share my work and my process and the whole bit, because I feel like I've been blessed by the universe to be able to do this, and um, I've been helped out, and so I want to help other people out too, and that's just a positive feedback loop. Anyway, I can see we're getting close to the end. Thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to see more of my work, go to my website, landscapepainter.co.nz. Also, please subscribe if you like this channel. And I'm going to be back next week. So with another the 25 Days of Tonalism. So meanwhile, please take good care and stay out of trouble.